I'm Paul Perkins with the check of your ag weather. Thunderstorms again possible tonight, possibly lasting into tomorrow morning with a disturbance lifting to the northeast. Those storms could be severe, especially over southwest Nebraska and western Kansas, where there is a slight risk of level 2 of 5, a lower marginal risk covering most areas to the west of Highway 281. The main threats this evening, including wind gusts over 60 and some quarter-size hail. A weaker disturbance may also trigger a few more thunderstorms for tomorrow night. Highs tomorrow are once again mostly in the 80s, some low 90s over northwest Kansas. This weekend, the heat building with a ridge of high pressure building north from the southern plains. Widespread highs in the 90s are likely, even the low 100s over parts of northern Kansas. The humidity this weekend making it feel as high as 100 to 105. Spotty thunderstorms return for Sunday night through the midweek. Highs dropping into the mid-80s to the low 90s for early next week. Possibly some fall-like levels by Labor Day weekend. That's a trend reflected in our long-term forecast. Nebraska and Kansas temperatures remain warmer than normal the middle part of next week. By late next week, through the first 4 days of September, Nebraska temperatures are slightly cooler than normal, and Kansas temperatures are at seasonal levels. Better rain chances are now predicted, with slightly above normal rainfall in the forecast for Nebraska and Kansas Tuesday through September 4th. In the latest regional drought monitor, Nebraska saw an 11 percentage point drop to 40% drought-free. Much of Nebraska is drought-free to abnormally dry. 19% of Nebraska in moderate to severe drought, with those areas confined to Nuckolls County to the southeast corner, a small area northeast of O'Neill, and the northwest corner of the Panhandle. Kansas increasing a percentage point to 11% drought-free. Most drought-free to abnormally dry areas are in the eastern third of Kansas. 51% of Kansas is in moderate to severe drought, including much of the west and central. Key weather factors affecting the markets include mostly dry weather and heat in the Corn Belt, rain that's not wanted across the northern plains and Canadian prairies, and South America's spring starting drier than normal. A broad area of high pressure responsible for the recent dry and unusually chilly weather over much of the eastern U.S. drifts offshore, allowing 90 and triple-digit heat to expand north and eastward from Texas onto the central plains and the western Corn Belt, reaching the central and southern Atlantic coast over the weekend. Mostly dry conditions persist in much of the U.S. with the exception of rain along a weakening cold front in the western Corn Belt. The northern plains and Canadian prairies can expect additional scattered rain into next week, which keeps the corn and soybean areas too wet and increases the concerns for loss of quality and delays to wheat harvest. In South America, more rain is needed in central Brazil for the upcoming soybean planting and in Argentina for developing wheat and to prep the soils for corn planting. Southern Brazil in better shape with more rain by the weekend, helping the wheat and improving the soil moisture for corn planting. With the check of your ag weather, I'm Paul Perkins.